I'm going to kick it off with you. Do you think Republican leaders went far enough in condemning Greene's comments?
Well, I certainly think their condemnations were appropriate. You know, they already stripped her of her committees earlier this year for some other inappropriate commentary that she made. So she's already been marginalized within the conference. I think the question that Kevin McCarthy and his leadership team have to ask themselves now is, do you even want to sit in the same room with this person? And by room, I mean the conference room. I think voters in districts should choose their representatives, and I think the people of Georgia should get somebody different, just like the people of Iowa did when they got rid of Steve King last cycle. But I think Kevin McCarthy, being the leader of the Republicans, could take a stronger stand here by saying, you know what, I know you ran as a Republican, but you are not welcome in this conference, and you're not welcome in these conference meetings. And that way he could say, look, I don't want her here, and Republicans in Georgia, send somebody else that isn't going to espouse these ignorant, flippant, reprehensible, silly, stupid remarks that stain every Republican that has to be near her.
And so what do you think, Scott? Is that what it took for Republican leaders to finally condemn Greene?
No, I think it was just the realization here that you have people from every corner of American politics who immediately realized this was wrong. This cannot be a viewpoint that's espoused by either major political party. I'm sure you had donors and other activists calling up Kevin McCarthy and the leadership team over the last few days. I'm sure you've had other members of the conference calling up the leadership team saying, listen, I don't want to be associated with this. Your job as leadership team is to take care of this for us when people get out of line. And so I think it was most likely a cascading of calls for condemnation that ultimately got them there. I do think, you know, Chris is right. There are certain things the House can do. To me, just speaking as the Republican analyst here, I don't want any other Republican stained with these remarks. That's why the condemnations are good. But the action here to me is to physically say, we are not going to allow you to be part of our Republican meetings. You're not going to be part of any strategy talks. You're not going to be part of any policy talks. You're not going to be in the room when we discuss what we as a party are planning to do for this country this year and as we head towards the midterms. I think that, to me, is a vital thing because you don't want any voter out there believing that if the Republicans take the majority, this is going to be somebody that has an influential voice in the conference.
But I just want to ask you, Scott, because Marjorie Taylor Greene does have growing influence in the party. Just look at her fundraising numbers. After she has said controversial things in the past, her fundraising numbers went up. So clearly she is appealing to a wide swath of GOP voters here. I mean, isn't she representative of sort of where the GOP is heading right now?
I totally disagree that her comments regarding the Holocaust and
well, I'm not saying the but her in general. I mean, she's look at her fundraising numbers. Look at her fundraising numbers.
Listen. There is a clear evidence, and she is the current poster child for it, that the incentive structures for getting money in politics are all wrong. You want to go out and work hard, become a policy expert, pass a bill, get bipartisan support, and do your job. There's no incentive. The incentive is in generating the outrage that she is generating. Look at her. She doubled down on all this because I'm sure somebody said to her, hey, there's a marketplace for even the most reprehensible thoughts. The incentive structure is all wrong, and that's why I think McCarthy, he can't fix the incentive structure overnight, but he can distance the rest of the conference from her and the rest of the Republican Party from her. And I would hope even former President Trump is watching all of this and saying, I don't want to be associated with this either. By the way, if he came out and condemned this and said something on this, I think it would matter to a lot of those people that are willing to throw in $25 every time something outrageous happens.
I agree with Scott.